Hello, it's Graham Coath with another My Music. Hope you're enjoying your wonderful Hump Day Wednesday. Do put down whatever it is you're doing. Forget all of that for the next 20 minutes or so, because I'm going to be talking to Jack any minute now. First of all, we're going to watch that video again. If you haven't actually watched it yet and paid attention, you need to count the amount of guitars that are in this video. Prizes for anybody that can actually count them, because it's pretty quick. Here we go.
Keep on, don't stop. Keep on, don't stop. Keep on, don't stop. Keep on, don't stop.
Do you know what, Jack? Now that I've said that, somebody is actually going to count.
Yeah, they are.
One. They're going to slow it down. They're going to put the video on at -6 times the speed or whatever and watch and count. 1, 2. It's always one. It's always one.
Some people have got too much time on their hands, mate.
They have. Yeah. Anything for a competition. Yeah. Have you ever entered a competition?
Not many. Not
No.
many. No.
Never won anything.
Not really. No, not since my school days have I won anything.
Oh, right. What was that? What did you win back then?
I never missed a day of secondary school, so
That's
I won
brilliant.
the best attendance.
Well done. Well done.
Yeah, from year 7 to year 13, never missed a day.
When my firstborn was born, I I entered a competition. I won a load of baby toys.
Do you still have the baby toys?
No.
Little mementos, like in a
got
trophy
rid of them.
cabinet.
No. and I tell a lie. That isn't the only time. I also won. There used to be a competition on Radio 1, but it was at like 3 o'clock in the morning, because I used to have to leave home really early to drive into London for work. So I was like up at 2 o'clock and out, and it was like the first call of the day. And I've got it still somewhere, a really crappy certificate from Radio 1, signed, I think even with the wrong name.
Oh, no.
And laminated. But yeah, those are the two things I've won. It's not much to go on. Hi. Thanks.
Experts at competition, me and you, mate. Experts.
Yeah, we won't bother with all of that. So how are you doing? You've been at this a little while, the old music thing, haven't you? Yeah, looking back through your YouTube and whatever, I was like, he's only a young whippersnapper, but look, he's actually he's been ploughing the trade already for quite a while. So when did you first start making music?
We had a little chat before we went live, didn't we? So I've been playing in bands since I was about 16. Started learning bass originally when I was about 14, 15. Messed about in a few bands playing bass, and then. Why
did you go for bass first? Was it because it has only got 4 strings and it seems easier to take up? It's not, is it? But
I mean, in certain ways it is, but it's just as hard to be good at. I'd say it's easy. It's easier to learn, but it's still hard to be good at. The reason I don't know, I was one of them kids. Like my dad had guitars knocking around the house, and he was always like, "Oh, learn how to play guitar," and I was just kind of like, "Nah." And then I learned how to play bass, kind of just to spite him a little bit. I was one of them. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know why I picked up bass to start with, but I still love playing bass now. It's just that.
What was the first thing you played on the bass? Come on, everybody. If it's a guitar, most people do Smoke on the Water first.
It was a pretty obscure. So I can't remember the name of the band. It was a tune called "They Say."
Oh really?
I can't off the top of my head think of the band now. I wonder if I can get a quick.
There you go. This is a bit of an exclusive. They Say. That's an interesting one. This, it's not the common thing. Is that someone you were really into at the time? And
not really, no.
No.
So my brother was kind of teaching me how to play, and he said, "Oh, this is a really easy song to learn." by Scars on Broadway. It's called They Say.
Right.
And it is a really easy song to learn. And then obviously I learned Seven Nation Army. Like
I was going to say that for me is probably where most people kick in on the bass.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
But what's interesting, because he plays that on the guitar, right?
Yeah, I think he does. Yeah.
Yeah, but it sounds like a bass, which is tremendous. And then you've got people like Royal Blood, where he's playing stuff on the bass and it sounds like a guitar.
Yeah, the amazing pedals that people can get hold of nowadays, right?
Absolutely. So when did you first start taking it really seriously?
I wouldn't say there's really a defining point. I think I've always took it relatively seriously ever since I started. Like, no matter what band I've been in, I've always been like, this is going to be the one band that's going to go somewhere. But then when I started writing my own tunes, I'd say, and then when I started going out on my own, I'd say it kind of stopped. Obviously, I still love it and I've still got a massive passion for it, but it kind of stopped being a hobby then. And it was something that I really wanted to pursue in terms of career-wise, instead of just, I'm doing this for a bit of fun. I'd say that's when it really changed, is when I started writing my own songs.
Was it a hard step moving from playing in bands to writing your own stuff? Going out there under your own name.
Yeah, initially, I think songwriting it's something that you really have to practice. I mean, my first few songs, I'm glad they've never seen the light of day, because they're terrible, absolutely terrible. But once you kind of get into the groove of writing, and stuff was going on in my life at that point. I'd been through a big breakup and I had a lot to write about, so it was kind of an easy transition in that sense. But yeah, it was weird initially going from bands to just playing on my own. It was a massive change, but both have pros and cons.
Yeah. Was there a click moment for you where in the songwriting process where you sort of felt you'd found a natural kind of groove in terms of the way you write?
Yeah, I think I found it quite early on that I often tend to write the music first, and I still do now. But I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to songwriting. I like watch YouTube videos and podcasts on it about all the time, and different ways to write, and like listening to some of the artists that I loved like growing up. Just talk about how they write songs, and then I've tried to write songs that way to try and improve, because you're never good enough, in my opinion. I think you can always be better. So I always try and listen to what other people do and try and take that into my own writing a little bit.
Yeah, I think, well, it's important, isn't it? I mean, it's how we all learn. It's kind of watching along the way who have been peers, if you like, or who have been influences that you've looked at and gone, that's how I want to write a song.
To start off with, it was Frank Turner and Bruce Springsteen. I'd say they were like, when I first started writing tunes, they were like they were the main artists that I was listening to at the time. But
like early Springsteen.
Yeah, a lot of the early Springsteen stuff, and a lot of the early Frank Turner stuff as well.
Yeah,
I think some of his newer stuff isn't really my cup of tea. But yeah, singer-songwriters and Americana, I suppose. Brian Fallon as well, from the Gaslight Anthem. I was massive on at the time. And he's done loads of videos like talking about his songwriting, and similar to the way I look at it now, where I try and improve from other people. He's done the same thing, where he'll listen to how someone else writes a song and then he'll try and write it that way. Like I say, it makes you better, and it means that you can write more songs.
What about the voice? Because it's a great voice. Was that always there? Have you had to work hard on that?
Yeah, I've had to work very, very hard on that. I was never been a gifted singer. It's just something that over time it's just got better. And again, listening to other artists and the way that they control their vocals. So when I first started out, I was very much a shouter. Like I just shouted and shouted and shouted, and I could probably do at the time.
But do you know what? Everyone does that. Yeah, and you know how we know everyone does that, because well, you're not old. You don't have kids yet, do you? Right?
No,
right. But one day, if you have kids, you'll go to children's assemblies, right?
Yeah.
every parent that's watching will know what I'm talking about, and you might do from if you remember that far back. And you sit and you watch these kids, and they're like, all of them. It's like they're trying to compete. You wonder why teachers don't go, now, if you could try and sing, dear, as opposed to but it's like
it really is. Oh, again, I was one of them kids that was just trying to be louder than everyone else. I was a right noisy little brat, to be honest.
Yeah. There's a tune, right? You just feel like saying there is a tune.
Yeah,
right?
somewhere in between the shouting.
Yeah, if you could try and but it always the kids doing that as well. It kind of reminds me of my early clubbing experiences as well. Because when you get like songs and songs with a lot of lyrics in, and people only know one word.
Yeah, you still get that now. I mean, people are making careers out of that now on TikTok, aren't they? All you need is a catchy chorus and you're all right now.
Well, back in my day, it was in the early days of going to like indie clubs and whatever. The one song was "It's the End of the World as We Know It" by R.E.M. I don't know whether you know that song.
Yeah, one of my first gigs was R.E.M.
There you go. Cracking song. But people basically used to dance round in the club, and they'd be like, dun, 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 dun. Leonard Bernstein, and that was it. That was the only word that they knew, and then the chorus. It's the end of the, and then heads down again, and that was the only time that their head would come up, apart from the chorus, was just for that one word.
There is a video of me somewhere doing a cover of that.
Is there?
I don't know if it's still up, but lockdown Jack Cattell, that was prime lockdown times.
We need to find that. We need to find that and get that back out there. What we might do is find it and attach it, cleverly by
I'll have to try.
digital links.
Yeah, it's somewhere on my Twitter, somewhere down in the mire of tweets.
Yeah, for people that haven't heard you, what subjects are you writing about? What's inspiring you to write?
Just real life, I suppose. I'll try and detach myself a little bit more from what I write now. When I first started, it was just like venting my anger at people.
A bit too autobiographical.
Yeah, a little bit. And now,
like people come up to you and go, "Was that me?" Yeah.
Again, there's a story about that. There's a story about that somewhere. But yeah, like I've kind of mellowed out a little bit now, and I've detached myself a little bit. But I still like to write about what's going on, whether that be my life, other people's lives, or the next single that's coming out tomorrow is more of a political one about sort of what's going on in the world and like the cost of living crisis and how we're just being shat on from the top.
Yeah. Have you liked political singers throughout the time you've been listening to music and growing up? I mean, if you like people like Billy Bragg and people like that have got
So one of my favourite tunes is To Have or To Have Not by Billy Bragg.
Yeah,
I think it's a brilliant tune. So I have listened to a lot of Billy Bragg, and I wouldn't say it's necessarily sort of something that I'll go looking for. It's certainly not something that I just decided that I needed to write about. It was just one of them things that at the time I think everyone was sort of ticked off with the way things were going for the country. And yeah, I just got a catchy chorus to a little riff that I wrote while we were in the studio recording Sunshine, I think, or Answers. It was one of the two.
Yeah.
A little riff come to me, and then singing to it in the car on the way home. Just come up with the People Like Us chorus. And
do you find that the studio is quite a creative space for you then?
Yeah, I think it really is, especially for not just for me, but for the rest of my band as well. We always seem to come out of the studio having 2 more, 3 more song ideas pretty much there.
Yeah.
Because you're in there for
I was going to say part of that's the time, isn't it?
Yeah, you're in there for 12 hours at a time. Obviously, you're surrounded by instruments. Your brain's constantly on music. It's not going anywhere else because you want to be focused on the track that you're doing. But then also your mind is wandering onto other song ideas, and you just get inspiration, I suppose, from being in the studio.
Yeah. it's the space, but as you say, it's been surrounded by everything as well, and just having that, and actually, it's what I say to people when it comes to things like writing content and things like that on social media, is that so many people say, well, I find it so difficult to know what to write about or what to do or whatever. How do you come up with new stuff day in, day out? You go, well, because I'm doing it day in, day out.
Exactly. Yeah. It gets easier when it's practice, isn't it? It's the same as any industry. But social media is difficult. It is really difficult.
Yeah. but yeah, the similarities are there. If you open yourself up to thinking about things or new ways of doing things, so you've got to find the challenge.
Yeah,
and you've got to put yourself in the challenge. And I think it's that whole bit about writing, and you've also got to, as you said earlier on, you said, well, my first songs were rubbish. I think every musician kind of says that. I don't know many musicians that have said, yeah, my first songs were just amazing. Maybe Kate Bush.
Maybe. But she's an exception. She doesn't count, surely.
No, she was just on a different planet.
Yeah, exactly.
But most people, you start off and you do something. You're kind of proud of it at the time, and then you look back and you go, God, that was pants, etc.
Yeah, pretty much.
But the key is to just do it. However bad it is, the key is to get it out there, because part of it is learning from what you've already done, isn't it?
It is, yeah. It really is.
That's the important bit. Get the stuff out there, learn from what you've done. How do you keep it fresh? How do you keep challenging yourself at the moment?
I think the band really helped me with that. I must admit. Obviously, I like to take a lot of credit for myself, which is why the band's under my name. But
someone's got to have a name as well, haven't they?
Someone's got to.
You've got to have something on the t-shirt.
But they really help at the moment. I mean, we've all got different ideas, and when I'm going through a lull of maybe not being as productive as I could be, they'll come up with an idea and they'll come to me, and we'll be in our rehearsal space and just end up jamming something, and then all of a sudden something comes out of it. And I'd like to think that at the moment we're on a good level where, when one of us is being slightly less productive, another one is actually doing a lot more. So we help each other out, and I think that's how it stays fresh, is when you've got 4 people contributing instead of just one. It's a lot easier.
Give a shout out to the other people in the band, because they're fancier a wave and saying hello.
See, they're not on Twitter. I can't believe that they're not on Twitter.
It's all right. This is going out in other places as well, so they might be somewhere.
There you go. Ali, Josh, and Anton. You all need to get Twitter.
You do.
You do all need to get Twitter. But
because it's
where to them.
It's where so many musicians hang out, and music fans hang out as well. It's been quite a revelation for me over the last few years. I started off really strong, believe it or not, in LinkedIn. That's where my starting part is. And this is going out on LinkedIn now. There are some music fans on LinkedIn, believe it or not. You can count them on one hand, but there are some. But yeah, I started doing this on Twitter as well, and it's been amazing just how many people have kind of gravitated towards it and shared, and it's a lovely space at the moment, I feel, for independent music. I don't know whether you sense that, but everybody's really kind of egging each other on and happy to support each other.
Yeah, I think it's been like that for a while, especially for sort of unsigned artists. I know every now and then you get sort of the odd bit of complaining and negativity, but I think for the most part, I think from our experience anyway, especially on the Birmingham scene, everyone's always bigging each other up. People are probably fed up with me retweeting the clause and Candid, to be quite honest, but it doesn't mean I'm going to stop doing it.
No.
Yeah, but we all support each other. Like, it's the same as anything, isn't it? It's the same as supporting your football team. Like, you support your mates, and
yeah, absolutely. It's
not a
great.
competition, in my opinion. It's not a competition.
It's not a competition because, and every musician's a fan as well.
Exactly.
That's the big thing. I've had a few people on here that have done Jules Holland, and I've asked them the same thing because I've, you'd love to know what it's like to do Jules Holland, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Right? Who wouldn't like to do Jules Holland? And they've all said the same thing, which is that, you go on, you do your bit, and it's quite nerve-wracking because you're sitting there and you go, look who's there, and then afterwards there's just, you're just kind of like, can't wait to see them. No one's sitting there going, oh,
yeah, I can't bother to listen to them.
No, because it's people that are genuinely in love with music love listening to music. They love other musicians. They love what they can learn from other musicians. They love, what they can catch as inspiration from other people. So everybody's, genuinely interested in each other, which is great. And I think it's great that what the scene is doing at the moment.
Yeah, it's the way it should be.
What's your ambition for the rest of 2023, sir?
It's always a tricky question because obviously the ambition is to get another one. that is obviously the top goal, isn't it? But
yeah.
I think in terms of realistic ambitions, we want to get around to see a few more places in the UK. We've started quite strongly this year. We had a bit of a rough year last year where we kind of stagnated a little bit. So we had a look at ourselves at the end of last year and said, look, what can we do to sort of push ourselves on a little bit? Obviously, we've got the new single coming out, which, like every band says, we think it's a step up for us. We think we've done some really good work on this single. But we've also been to Liverpool and we're in Manchester tomorrow. So we're getting around to some new places that the band haven't been to yet. And I think that's key for us to sort of grow our audience to a sort of a national level, instead of just playing shows in and around Birmingham and Wolverhampton. We can actually get out, see a few new faces, network with a few more brilliant bands, and just build on what we didn't get to do last year. We're trying to build ourselves back up to a level where we can do this consistently, and then maybe put a tour out, put a few more singles out.
Oh, I was going to say, Jack, just remember that M5 goes south as well as north, right?
It does, yeah. It does.
Yeah. So
we're trying.
If there's any promoters out there listening, Bristol, Exeter, just saying. There you go.
We need to get down to Bristol. I've got a few mates in Bristol, so I reckon we could pull in a crowd. So any promoters out there, get us in Bristol. Come on. Absolutely.
Who would be the dream to sort of support or go open for at the moment?
That's a tough question. That is a tough question. For me personally, someone like Blossoms. I listen to them a lot at the moment, especially their acoustic stuff, like some of the piano stuff they do. Unbelievable. I'd probably say Blossoms. That would be
a top of your agenda. Well, they're going to get tagged in then. See if we can make that happen. Because you look, if you don't ask, you don't get in life. That's always my motto.
Exactly.
So, let's see if we can make that happen. They do a few. They quite like coming down Cornwall way as well, because I know they've done a few things sort of down Cornwall way, sort of surf things and whatever as well. So you never know. That could
go then.
You see, could be a twofer. Come down, do a bit of maybe Newquay. There's a festival down there every year.
Well, they're being tagged. So Blossoms, come at me. Come on.
Yeah, get Jack on board. Well, listen, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to you. One of the things that I do ask singer-songwriters as well, because if you thought that was a difficult question, but this one's probably even more difficult, is if you could work with anyone, alive or dead, who would that be?
It's a toss-up between two for me.
Mm-hmm.
Either Chuck Berry,
the
late great, or Ray Davies from the Kinks.
Ray Davies from the Kinks. Yeah. Absolutely.
My first ever gig, that was Ray Davies. My first ever gig.
Two very, very different artists. I know which one Damon Albarn would say. Very definitely Ray Davies. I believe he believes that Is it Waterloo Sunset? Is the most perfect song that was ever written?
And I completely agree.
Yeah,
it's my favourite song of all time, Waterloo Sunset.
There you go. You see, that's the one song that I think he said that he would wish that he'd have written. Waterloo Sunset.
It's the song that, because I thought that was the question you were going to ask me. I thought you were going to say, which, if you could write any song, what would it have been? And it would have been Waterloo Sunset.
It's such a great song. Such a great song. Now, listen, you know, I love your music. It's brilliant. Thanks for doing what you do. Keep doing it. Where can people listen to it? It's everywhere, isn't it? But where's the best place? Where is the best place from your point of view?
Best place for us is Spotify, and that's where realistically everyone goes to, isn't it? But yeah, anywhere, as long as you're listening, come and see us at a show. I'd like to think we put on a decent show. I'm sure some people can vouch for us there. But yeah, Spotify's the main one. And like I say, new singles out tomorrow. So you'll have some fresh Jack Cattell music to put in your ears.
Well, listen to that. Support, you know, if you like it, send a little message to Jack and the rest of the band. Not that they get it because they're not on Twitter.
I will.
There's a good reason for the rest of the band to get on Twitter, so they get all the messages about the new single. But you know, that's because that's important, isn't it? It's nice to get those kind of messages back, you know, because it's nice to see the figures go up with the streams, etc. But it's lovely when people just send you a message saying, "Yeah, thanks."
It takes 5 seconds. You know what I mean? Like this is the big thing that I think a lot of people don't see, is that, you know, people think that support is coming to the shows or following you. The big support for us is sharing what we're doing, because then we're getting out to more people and it's showing that you're enjoying it as well. So 2 birds, 1 stone, and it's free.
2 birds, 1 stone. It's obvious, isn't it? Just do it. If you've enjoyed this conversation with Jack, share this. As I say every time, not so that I get more shares. I don't care about that. It's so that more people hear about Jack. Do it. Put it everywhere. You know, copy your granny in it. She might even like Jack. Who knows? Until next time, this has been my music, Jack Cattell. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thanks for having me,
listen to his music. Bye for now.